We are starting this very exciting series today, which is called Humari Riyasat. And meanwhile, by the time we wait for Abhishek to join us today, who's our guest, let me tell you all a little about Humari Riyasat. Through our series, Humari Riyasat, which means our kingdom, we will be showcasing the expertise of the jewelry crafted from each state of our country once every week. Hi Akriti, hi Anandita. Uh, so, um, this is actually an endeavor taken by GJS Virtual, which is initiated by GJC India and Prernaa Makhariaa of Prrer to bring forth the handcrafted and reviving the dying art of jewelry in India. So I see Raniwala has already joined. Abhishek is here, and I'm going to quickly add him to this chat. I was formally introducing you to everyone, and
I
when I
just
just
turned into 4G,
added
sometimes
you.
Wi-Fi.
So our guest for the
Wi-Fi
first
is conk
Instagram
off.
live today of Humari Riyasat is Abhishek Raniwala. Uh, his great grandfather, Mr. Raichan Bahadur Champalal Ji Raniwala, who was an aristocrat and a jewelry connoisseur from Biawar, Rajasthan in India. Abhishek is the co-founder of Raniwala 1881 and has always been fascinated by jewelry. And here, I'm actually wearing his creation today. Uh, so his innate creativity is what drives him into transforming an idea or motif into real jewelry.
Thank you, Prerna, for calling me here. And we are here
Pleasure's
now.
all
Please.
ours. Yeah. So I was talking about you to everyone, and I told them a little about your family background. So tell me, did you always? I know you have a legacy in your family of jewelry, but is this something that you always wanted to do? How did this happen to you?
Thanks, Prerna, first for giving this opportunity to talk to you. And you looking stunning as usual. And your
Thank
smiling
you.
face is also giving so much energy to me to talk so much. There's always,
Thank you.
when there's a beautiful girl, men like us get charged.
Uh, I'm actually wearing your creativity. I'm wearing the
Thank you
bracelet
so much. So
design for
sweet
you.
of you. So, hello, good evening, everybody who's seeing us today. I'm going to share some insights with what we do at Raniwala, keeping the Riyasat in mind and what Prerna has given this opportunity. About me, yes, I was very fascinated. I used to wear my
Yes, now, yeah.
grandmother's jewelry and used to get photos, clicks. That's my earliest memory interacting with
How
jewelry.
cool.
And I remember my grandfather had a sandook of my grandmother. My grandmother had the sandook, and there's a lot of jewelry used to be there. So I used to try and wear those and explore. Also, I was very I'm still very inspired by my grandfather, who got the jewelry know-hows from his great-grandfather. That was Rai Bahadur
Yeah.
Champalal Ji Raniwala. As you mentioned, he was an
Yeah.
aristocrat and
Yeah.
was a jewelry connoisseur. And so that's how my early days I remember of getting into jewelry and passion about jewelry. And then later I went to Moscow, I went to Russia to learn about diamonds, and then henceforth the
Oh,
journey
lovely.
started for jewelry.
Nice. So it was not just family legacy, but you also took formal training in jewelry.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. Yes.
I know. So tell me, I mean, you've been in Rajasthan. You are from Biawar, uh, and Rajasthan has a lot of different kinds of jewelry. Right from Thewa to Polki. I mean, Polki is especially famous from there. The gemstones from there are famous. Can you take us through some of the different kinds of techniques from the jewelry from Rajasthan?
Absolutely. So Rajasthan has been dominantly uh, very ahead in times for handcrafted heritage kind of
Yeah.
designs and products. So that could be jewelry, that could be clothes, it could be furniture, etc. So Rajasthan
Yeah.
represents handcrafted industry at large. And similarly, jewelry
Absolutely.
also started very early here. And during the time of the Mughals, the Jaipur city was set it up, and there was a Johari Bazaar was set up, so that there was jewelry trade can excel because it had
Yeah.
no pollution, etc. So coming forms to Rajasthan, Rajasthani jewelry, there are few forms which have been very patented and uh, part of our culture and heritage. The prominent jewelry from here is, of course, we all know Jadao jewelry, which is called the flat cut diamond jewelry, which is
Yeah.
100% handmade. And there are hundreds of hours which go by a craftsman and different craftsmen to make that piece of jewelry. Um, so one of the piece which you're showing, this is called R. Then we have Hath Fools, which was also primarily very prominent jewelry piece, which was used in Rajasthan by the Bahus
Yeah.
or the Thakurains of the Thikanas, of, as they call in Rajasthan. Then, of course, Meenakari came into the picture, and Meenakari needs a base of 24 carat or a 22 carat of gold to have the best Meena. So the Meena Kari was flourished here, and it was done by hand. So the very less handful craftsmen could do this work appropriately. So this also came from
Yeah.
Rajasthan, and it got its popularity and gained popularity amongst the people who love jewelry. It's also called enamel, in other words. So we talked about art, hatful. Then we have different kind of matha
So
pattis which
before
came into.
before we go ahead, so when you're talking about enameling, there are also different kinds of enameling. So can you tell us a little
Yes.
about the kind of enameling used in Rajasthan?
So the main enamel which we use in Rajasthan practiced here, and different colors of enamel have come in due course of time. So predominantly there have been
Yeah.
only two colors, green and red, and of course with the
Okay.
motifs of leaves, etc. And then the later different colors like more pastel colors started coming up with keeping the millennials in mind. So exploration of Meena started happening in the late 20th century with more, but predominantly there were only two colors.
Okay. Okay. And the pink one used to be essentially from Banaras, which was
Banaras. It's
later
called the
adapted,
Banarsi Meena. Yes.
which now
Yes.
I think even the Rajasthanis have adapted to that color.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So you were moving ahead after enameling. You were saying about something.
Yeah. So the like a set you've shown on the picture on Instagram. This is a very this is a set called Pankhi set with a very old motif of pankhis, which we find in the old kind of jewelry, and this was a very dominant form of a motif. So
Mhm.
how I have this piece here ready with me, and it fascinates me because it gives a story of small pearls and pestle motif. So Pankhi and pestle as a motif.
How
So these kind
lovely.
of designs were originated from Rajasthan, and
Yeah.
they were shown in as a representation of the culture and heritage of Rajasthan. And we at Raniwala, we narrate the story of our culture and heritage, and especially me, as I'm connected to our roots, and I believe in narrating the
Yeah.
story of
Yeah.
the olden times in a modern way. That's what we do. I'll say also another Prerna, very important jewelry which came in fashion lately and which was
Mhm.
very much liked by the millennials was the Matha Patti. If you see
Yeah.
how Matha Patti has made a role to to complete the bridal look, and
Yes.
any millennial bride in any part of the world connected to the India root is this is one of the her biggest treasures is Matha Patti. It also originated from Rajasthan.
So tell me, what is the difference between a Borla and a Mathapatti? Because Borla is also known from Rajasthan. So how does one differentiate that?
Yeah. Rajputana, and other is the so it's called Mewar and the Marwar. So in the Rajputi
Yeah.
tradition, Borla is plays a very prominent role, and otherwise Mathapatti plays a very prominent role. So Mathapatti is which is connected with a Mangtika, and Borla is something which is roundish and which comes on the over the head. Both are the headgears and are vastly used in
Yeah.
Rajasthan and now worldwide used by the brides.
Absolutely. I personally love wearing a Borla. Like I'm hardcore Rajasthani like that. So I absolutely enjoy wearing that. So tell me, like
Then it's like
there
a
are uh,
it's like a signature. You're wearing a borla. It's
yeah.
like a signature that you're a Rajasthani bride.
Yeah, yeah. Borla or probably even those white, initially people used to have these of Hathi Dant ke, but now they wear them of plastic. All those
Correct,
bangles, I
correct,
still have
correct.
a set of that, in fact. So tell me, what are the other popular motifs from Rajasthan? Like, there are peacocks like that. There would be some other popular motifs which specifically are from Rajasthan. So can you t take us through those also?
Motifs are basically derived from two major inspirations in Rajasthan. One is the architecture of Rajasthan. If you see, there's so many havelis and uh, forts across Rajasthan, and there's so many small
Yeah,
provinces which we call thikanas. So architecture has played a huge role in contributing in the design language of Rajasthani jewelry, or I can say Jarao jewelry.
yeah,
Then also with Mughal era dominant and the Muslim area dominant in Rajasthan in that era, or in India per se, also got a lot of parrots and peacocks as a art form or as a motive form. And the beauty is that the designers very early adapted both and amalgamated the story of architecture and the animal forms and the birds form
yeah,
in such a
yeah.
beautiful fashion by using the different color stone, which made the jewelry so stunningly beautifully and connects to the both worlds of the Mughal era and also keeping the Indian heritage intact.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that and so fascinated with it. But tell me, so like we spoke about the motifs, there are also different accessories which are typically Rajasthani, like how we spoke about a mathapatti and a borla. What are the other popular accessories from Rajasthan?
So dominant accessories are, of course, hatful, bajuband, kamarband, borla,
Yeah.
rani har, which you wear under a necklace or under choker, dominantly. But I would say the my favorite is the nut, which is also very prominent these days in the bridal
Yeah.
trousse.
Bridal
So I
category.
would say if I have to categorize this, I'd say nut, mathapati, mangtika, uh, Rani Hars. Bajus are not much in fashion, but then Baju also used to be very prominent. So if you see all those movies like Jodha Akbar, etc., which started from Rajasthan and narrating the story of Rajasthan. And
Yeah.
there was also a very prominent piece of jewelry which used to call hasli. So it was a
Yes.
very gold ornamental hasli and a beautiful enamel which used to fit on your neck as a roundish part. That was also a very popular registered Rajasthani jewelry.
Oh, yeah. So Borla and a Hasli would probably look similar when worn because I
Stunner.
think, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that look would just be absolutely killer. So having said that, I see these beautiful designs from your family archives. Can you tell us a little about these designs?
So I have got one of these arts which I showed, which is very old, and we keep it. This is my grandmother's art, and I don't remember the date, but
Oh my
this has
God,
been with us. It shows the enamel and also the old gold work, which was very prominent that time. We
that's
also
beautiful.
I also have a bangle pair, which is also from our family collection. This has the Burmese ruby, and the handwork is called the chitai, and it is made in 22 karat gold.
Okay. So can you explain us a little about the
And
manufacturing of this, Abhishek? Because there are um, a lot of people who are not from India in the audience, and I also see a question asking what is Hasli. So if you can explain that and also explain the
sure,
manufacturing techniques.
I don't have a hasli here. So hasli is a stiff round necklace which is worn as a neck ornament. When I say stiff, as in it's not flexible, it stands like a pipe, and it was used mostly by the Vepari. So I would say, in other words, the merchants of Rajasthan who used to normally migrate from one place to another place for business and used to come back and used to be away from home for a long time. And they used to carry this gold ornamental, which could be very helpful for them whenever they need to trade something. So it used to
Lovely.
work as a gold ornament as a jewelry also, and as a trade product or a trade item also. And also Husley had a lot of forms. Husley was studded with beautiful color stones like rubies and diamonds, and also was studded with beautiful hangings like emeralds, like Colombian and Zambian emeralds. It was a very
Lovely.
particular format of on jewelry, and it was normally or prominently used by Rajasthan or Rajasthani people from Rajasthan. If I
Lovely.
answer you, yeah.
Yes, no, absolutely. So let's go through the design archives that you have shared here with us. If you can tell us a little about these motifs and designs.
Sure. So these designs come from our Haveli, which is in Biawar, 1890. So a few years back, I found this a small suitcase with these archives. So as I told you, my great grandfather's father was very much inclined towards jewelry and used to love the form. So this was not that old. This is, I think, so 1970s or 80s dated. This is not very old, but I found it there.
Yeah.
So these are the forms. If you see, these are the real forms, which how they used to make the chop on the
Hmm.
paper, and then before make it on the. So there were no designers. I think they were not designers, and there was less. Connect with our understanding of design palettes, etc. So they used to draw this by hand, and they used to elaborate. So if you see this, the flower is elaborated with small pieces around,
Yeah.
and you can see the language that how prominence used to make used to they used to be so particular about a prominent motif. So they make a flower and then they used to play it and make it prominent. We found a lot of inspiration from there, that how a right design language can be used. So you see that. So that's a symmetry necklace where all the pieces are same size, and the form was fish, and that was very popular in those days.
Oh,
So it's a very
lovely.
simple kind of a necklace, same form. So if you call it here, call it now, it could be geometry in a straight form.
Yeah.
So these kind of forms are huge inspiration for our jewelry, and we connect that era of beautiful old times of our heritage, and we narrate the story to the millennials in the modern way. So
Absolutely.
that's our inspiration palette.
But in fact, as I'm looking at this, like how you say that every person perceives an art or design in a different form. So when I look at this particular design, for me, I immediately think of a fort. So I could actually relate to the look of a fort.
So that's why I
Those
mentioned,
very,
yeah, Prerna, the amalgamation of architecture and animals and etc. or floral, it is very evident. So these were the three
absolutely,
main formats which the designs all, because that's what the human live on.
yeah.
That's a very particular
And
Rani Har.
yes, I mean, I was just coming to that, and I was like, I have to hear about the Raniwala from the Raniwala man.
Um, so my great grandfather had nine children, nine boys. He had more daughters, etc. Nine boys, and not great grandfather, great grandfather's father. So my great grandfather were
Okay.
nine. So I remember my grandfather telling me stories. My great grandfather used to make nine hearts, nine Rani hearts for nine bahus.
Oh my
So one used
God.
to be of diamond, one of emerald, one of ruby, and he used to make sure that every Rani Har had a choker. So and they used to wear different hars at different times. If they wore a Rani Har on one Diwali, they had to wear a different Rani Har on a different Diwali. So they cannot
Oh
wear a
my
same
God.
Rani. So these are the stories. But coming back to the point, Rani Har were the most prominent jewelry part in those times. Like these days,
Yeah.
chokers are very prominent. In those
Yes.
times, Rani Hars were
The long necklaces. Yeah.
very prominent because it showed the flamboyance, or it showed the magnitude of a family, or of strength in terms of stature in those era, because Rani Har holds more metal. It holds more color stones, it holds more diamonds. So it was kind of a stitchier, and of course it used to come on the dresses, and the dresses were very simpler. If you remember, Prerna,
Yeah.
they were less of they were more simpler dresses as compared to today.
Yes.
So so it was
Solid
Rani Hart played a
colors, solid,
solid
vibrant
colors,
colors.
and absolutely. So I remember seeing chiffon sarees worn by my ancestors, simple sarees and these prominent jewelries.
Oh, lovely. So I heard you mention about gemstones in our conversation, and Jaipur is also known for its gemstones. So can you tell us a little about the legacy of gemstones from Rajasthan?
Absolutely. I think the story what we know or we've heard in Jaipur is that, of course, Jaipur has been very strong in terms of cutting and polishing precious stone like emerald. And Jaipur has a very strong history of trade merchants and manufacturing of cut rough emeralds. Dominantly, Rajasthan does not have any emerald mines, but the merchants used to get the roughs in Rajasthan, and they had such an amazing science and craftsmen without the computers, and they used to optimize cutting the rough into a beautiful polished stone. Dominantly, I would say, was emerald, and that's how the culture cultivated. And if you know how to cut one color stone appropriately, of course, then you know how to cut the other color stones appropriately. So so Jaipur, specifically Jaipur, has played a huge role in contributing in color stone industry worldwide.
And are you
So
going
I
to be
remember
showing us some of the pieces also that you have there?
so I have one more antique piece. I don't know how prominent you can see the emeralds from here, but this is another very antique piece we have. This is
Oh, that's
called as a
beautiful.
Zambian emerald, and these are also Zambian emerald. They are worked with Banarsi Meena, if you see here, and there's a
Yeah.
work of gold and flat cut polki, which is also called uncut diamond is being done here. So this is the way the prominence of jewelry came, where Jarrao jewelry was mixed with the color stone because the access of color stone in Jaipur was high. So that was a heads up compared to any other city in India working
Hmm.
because Jaipur had more access to
Yeah.
color stone. So this is a very beautiful example of color stone and the Jarrao jewelry.
This looks stunning. And how long does it take to manufacture something like this? It must be taking quite some time. Or probably even the stones must be taking time to source, right?
Yeah, so this kind of work is not seen anymore. Yeah, but it's a very tedious job to get the sequence of the stones, to get the right color matching, because stones are so subjective. You can't replace them again, and the work to be very similar. So it's a very tedious job, and with today, with the capital in hand, people want to make quick jewelry and sell quickly. It takes many hours to make it, to source it. So it's not financially feasible. So people don't intervene. But of course, the artisans are there, the craftsmen are there in Jaipur, and people who do it still do it. And it is a very acceptable and a sellable form of art.
Okay. So we have known so far Abhishek as a jeweler, a retailer. Tell me who is Abhishek as a designer? What is his design philosophy like?
Wow, thank you, Prerna. Um, Me as an individual believe that India is one of the richest country to hold the strongest and the oldest heritage. And when I see this with and I connect this with myself and I see my family and Rajasthan, we talked about the forts. I've been born here, brought up. I did my schooling in Ajmer Mayo College. So I would say that my ecosystem has made me connected to my roots very strongly. And I've been very fascinated with my grandfather and my elders. And so I've been very fascinated the old forms of our culture and design sensibility. Uh, so for me to narrate an old story or an old motif in a modern, relevant manner to a millennial really excites me. And
Nice.
I keep on digging every day with whatever inspiration I can get. Could be a old fort, could be small, simple mehrabs, or any kind of art forms which Rajasthan has been very known for, and derive them and put them in a paper and try and make them into a beautiful jewelry by putting metal, which is gold, and color stones, and then narrating a story which is more relevant to the millennials and brides today. So that is what is my design sense, and I've been trying my best with our team to work on this parameter and this line of action.
And I must say, you do a fantastic job at it. I mean,
Thank
there
you,
is
Prerna.
every piece speaks a story, and it's beautifully articulated.
You've
So
been a very
you just
humble.
mentioned, thank you. You just mentioned about brides. So with the current situation in the last 6 months, a lot of weddings have been postponed, and they are now probably after Diwali. So what are the brides now? What kind of jewelry are they liking? Have you already started having customers who want to design their wedding trousseau? How is it like right
Phenomenal.
now?
So there have been two things. An Indian bride is always Indian first, and her ecosystem or her
Yeah.
exposure, her upbringing has always talked about Indian. And when they think about India, they always talk about their roots, their culture, their heritage, and the D-Day of a bride. She wants to go back to her tribe, and that's the original DNA what we all Indians have. We could be getting married in the most lavish, flamboyant part of the world, or spending X amount of money. But we want to be back. We will want to represent our tribe, who we are. Uh, Considering that emotional aspect, every bride wants to come back to their roots. And post COVID, it's when we all have seen the life is so fragile, etc. This has become more dominant. So the trend, I would say, for a bride is that how can we make the bride look the most beautiful, representing the values what she was born with, representing the heritage, representing the tribe she comes from. So that's been our daily thought process, and which we have understood from every bride. Design
Right.
is just a thought, it is just an emotional factor what they want to be associated with. So this is what I have personally felt, and we have felt that this is what brides look for now. More functionality,
Right.
more simpler, more variable, more connected to roots. These are the few bullet points, if I may say.
So, do you think that also the spending power, having said the current situation, has changed for these brides? Do they prefer jewelry which is much more, cost effective, or they still want to wear jewelry which is over the top?
So Prerna, bride post-COVID or in COVID or pre-COVID, her D-Day is D-Day. She doesn't care about COVID. She wants to look the best. The cost cutting may happen in the periphery,
Yeah.
mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law, etc. But the
Mhm.
bride will look like
She
a
has to
bride
be,
once.
yeah, that's
So
true.
there is, and we've seen that, and the fathers go gaga on the daughter, and the daughter is given a full hand. And of course, the bride knows that this is the once ever seeing the our culture and understanding of life, that this will not happen in her life. So she wants to live in a moment, and she wants to do the best. So coming back to your question, there's no cost cutting when it comes to bride. There could be a cost cutting in other factors, but bride will not come to any kind of
मम्मी और
terms.
पापा को ज्वेलरी कम पहना दो मैं तो सब पहनूंगी.
Absolutely, yes.
That's true. Now tell me, I mean, I see these beautiful colors in your store, and it reminds me of the time I visited your store. So let's give the audience a quick tour and give them an experience of what the Raniwala store is all about.
Sure, I'll be very happy. So as I said that I and personally we at Raniwala are fascinated by the heritage of Rajasthan. So we have in a little I would say prayas. I've tried to get all the major architecture art forms from Rajasthan in my store, and I'll try and show you. Let's see if it makes
Right.
sense to you. Yeah, come. Can we take the camera? So this is our
Let's
bride.
go to a virtual tour.
So
Wow,
this is
this
our
is the first time
bridal.
I'm actually doing something like this when I'm showing a virtual store on Instagram.
So hi everybody. This is our bridal boutique. So if you see, we have made these mehrabs, and with these mehrabs, we have made these old school cabinets, which talks
Lovely.
about again the heritage, and they are the even the work. If you see, is little dull. We're not gone into very contemporary kind of
Yeah,
a look where you see in five-star hotels these days. So we've kept
yeah.
the harmony of Rajasthan. So in our so if you see the pink color at the
Yeah.
back is prominent Rajasthan, of course Jaipur, which is the pink city, and also Raniwala. So we have kept the pink. Then you see even our this is our sitting lounge, and you see even the sofas are made out of real brass, and
Wow.
these form of furniture is only made in Rajasthan. Few of the furniture is made in real silver, and few of the furniture is made in real brass. Um, Even the small lights have been thought and made in pink color, made to order, which shows that
Beautiful.
old Havelis used to have these kind of chandeliers and glasses.
Yeah.
So we've kept
Yes.
that intact in our thought process.
We would
Um,
see these in Bollywood films, and I like now I'm feeling I'm seeing them in reality.
then I'm going to show you the double height floor, which is we call the ground floor. We were sitting in the bridal. I'm going to take you down to our main lobby to get an
Okay.
idea of what I'm talking about. Please come.
Let's go downstairs. We were on level one and now we're moving downstairs. Wow, that's a beautiful chandelier. That's amazing. What's that huge wall that I see? I mean, that architectural thing right in front.
Sure, I'll take you there. This is a chandelier, of course, showing the showing the Middle British era or the early 1900th century when the lights became prominent in India and the lift started coming in. So this wall represents that's the this. Can you come here, please? So this is a Thekri work, which is called the glass work, which is very popular in Udaipur, and we have
Oh,
tried to get
yes.
that karigars and put it here. This wall is made of. We tried to do it, call it the Meena wall. We done on the old wood, which is come out from a Haveli. So this all were ceilings, doors. So they are, I don't know many years old, and we've got them out and we've placed it here so as an art form. Then if you see here, this kind of furniture is in real silver. This is also a
Lovely.
very prominent form of Rajasthan
Hmm.
craft. It is manufactured in Udaipur predominantly. Then this is a gold foiling work which is done in Jaipur. So every leaf is made by hand by the craftsmen. If you see every leaf, and
Yeah,
it's done by hand and by brush, and it is a very
that's
tedious
amazing.
job, very tedious job. Even if you see, we've kept if the lock systems also, we have tried to connect with the whole story and made sure that they
Yes.
look relevant to. Uh, and also, if you see the colors and the mehrab, this is
It
very
I think it used to be called Kundi, if I'm not mistaken.
kundi. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
You know Rajasthan very, Prerna.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you see these mehrabs,
Yeah.
the idea was, Prerna, that any bride who's well read, who's seen the world, or any family, they when they come to Rajasthan, they expect a kind of an atmosphere. So we didn't
Yes.
wanted to make a haveli. We thought of making a modern haveli, which is more relevant to the today's millennials. So that's the same thing what we do in our jewelry. We take the old forms and crafts of Rajasthan and we
Yeah.
try to make it more relevant. So this is a
Wow.
similar kind of a atmosphere we tried and built where people can feel as a connection with our brand.
That's absolutely fascinating. That wall is so beautiful. I mean, It must have taken quite some time to put for you to put all of this together.
Actually, it did not, Prerna. I had our thoughts were very clear what we wanted,
Yeah.
and it was just came up very quickly. We were very quick on uh, planning things and executing it.
Perfect. So maybe if you want to take a seat and then we'll move further into the audience Q&A. And if there's anything
Sure,
you would
let's go
like
sit up.
to add, cool.
No, I'm happy to answer any kind of points is there, and thank you so much.
Oh, those are lovely designs.
Show this, Nina.
Stunning. Like these are you know it speaks a story. It's subdued in its own way, but it makes a statement in its own way. You know, it's that perfect balance.
Correct.
So I have a question here ask Abhishek sir, how does he deal with the customer after showing him like ample pieces of art?
There's a need why a customer is coming to us, and the need is jewelry, and that is what we are trained for, is to satisfy their need and give them what they want. So any kind of art form, any kind of talking tricks don't eventually work. What works is
Yeah,
the solution to the need, which is beautiful jewelry. The bride has to connect. That's it. The connection has to be there. That's it.
that's true. So going back to this whole virtual series that we are doing about GJS Virtual and Humari Riyasat. As a retailer, I know you would have probably seen the GJS virtual platform. Would you think that as a retailer, how would something like this be beneficial for you?
So it's a brilliant platform, and GJC has been doing a lot of good work from many years, and it has got all the retailers of India on a similar platform, especially retailers from B tier, C tier cities. It's the only platform which has
Yeah.
connected people together. And I think so there was a long awaited kind of initiative which was done. I think so any kind of initiative with the consent of public and with the intent to do better for business and trade will work. And I'm sure this platform is, in these unprecedented times, is going to work very strong. And the way we are moving slowly digital, I think so a
Yeah.
small marketplace like this is going to be a very helpful to be updated with the market and also to do business.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I see that in the past 6 months, the jewelry industry has just jumped to another level digitally. Like pretty much
Absolutely, yes.
everyone now knows about Zoom or Instagram Live or a Facebook Live, and they know how to operate it, which
Absolutely.
would have taken years otherwise to happen.
Correct. No, totally. It's a paradigm shift, Prerna. We didn't believe that acceptability of jewelry will come, especially a certain amount of jewelry, which experience was so strongly involved in buying process. We never thought that this could work, but adaptation and change is what we all are used to.
Absolutely. So here I have another question from Ikram asking, what are the moving stones now in India?
Um, Ikram, thank you for the question. If I answer your question into two categories, Indian market is dominant by two kind of jewelry wearing. One is daily wear and one is bridal wear. And bridal wear is a huge industry in India. And bridal wear normally attracts precious kind of stones, particularly with your question. And when we talk about precious stones, um, emerald takes the cake. It has been the favorite because it has a
Yeah.
beautiful combination with diamond and gold color. Then, of course, you have rubies, and then, of course, you have tanzanite or topaz or blue sapphire, which works. That is the precious part on bridal jewelry. But we
Yeah.
have seen a latest trend in the day-to-day wear or a ready-to-wear or much more lighter jewelry, where aquamarine, morganite, these colors have suddenly taken space. Multicolored tourmaline, which is also a beautiful semi-precious stone. So these kind of stones have also are much easier to procure and much more cheaper compared to and adds a lot of flavor to the pastel color. So these are the stones which have been very strongly or largely used lately.
I completely agree. Do you have any piece that we can see in Morganite? I mean, you just mentioned about
Absolutely,
Morganite,
yes.
and I'd love to see something in that.
Sure. So,
I think that's another unexplored gemstone, especially in India. I see people internationally using a lot of Morganites.
so look at this. This is my one
Oh
of
my
my very
God.
favorites. Very apt pink color. It's
So
not for the
nice.
bride. It's for the festive or a bridesmaid.
Yeah.
And we put a pastel Russian color to match it. Very simple, very dominant pink color, very representing a strong, elegant woman or a young girl. And we've tried to make earrings very small so that the you don't take it far from the necklace.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
so that's a
The
festive
focus
kind of
is
an
here.
his focus is here. So that's one of the beautiful pieces in Morganite. These Navratnas are also very much in trend at the moment. So
Oh,
you see
lovely.
these nine real precious stones with simple um hangings of pearl and Russian emeralds with tourmaline. And if you see how the tourmaline beads have been used with pearls to make a
Yeah.
complete look.
Yeah, and you can see the contrast in the colors
You can
because
see the
they just, yeah,
contrast.
they break. Yeah.
So this is a beautiful festive edit, maybe on a Dhanteras or especially Diwali coming up. So I have my top mind recall. This looks stunner, stunner. A simple choker. It's not too heavy. It's very wearable. So these kind of things are very appreciated.
I completely agree. I mean, it looks, I would love to wear something like that. And I think I'm going to be eyeing something like this very soon now.
Also,
Abhishek, you've
one
already, you are tempting me to buy jewelry now.
most welcome, Prerna, anytime. Also, these kind of earrings are very popular. This is not color stone, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
share, where this is called the jhumki with the stud, and it is called a different kind of enamel. If you remember, we were talking about enamel. This is not green,
Yes.
this is not blue, this is not red, this is chocolate enamel. And
Oh,
these kind of small jhumkis are very in the festive wear, where you don't wear anything on the necklace, you're going for a cards party or an evening dinner, etc. Though it's not possible this time, but yes, a small puja at home or
we'll
something like that.
we'll have virtual card parties. We'll get
Virtual,
dressed up and we'll have virtual card parties.
absolutely.
Cool. So I have someone asking, Parul, for the price of the choker, I believe you should connect directly with Abhishek and he should be able to help you with that.
Sure. I'm there on
Uh,
Instagram or your Raniwala page. Just send an inquiry. We will get back to you. Absolutely.
yeah. So my last question to you, Abhishek, what I mean, what would your recommendation be in terms of jewelry for this festive season? And would you like to add something more about GJS Virtual and this entire virtual concept coming up?
So, festive season, I think so. We've last few months have been very quiet, very dull. We haven't been out. I think so. Color is the key. Wear as much color in your jewelry, in your clothes, in your
Yeah,
accessories, and just sparkle. I think so. This is what 5 months, 6 months we've been. We haven't dressed up. We haven't traveled. So color. I mean, anything to do with color and make you feel happy and young. I think so. That's the very
that's
candid
the
view
key.
of mine. Um, Virtual, I think so. We are. It's a process of adaptation of new change and a new normal. It will take time, but the ice has started melting, and we have already started becoming a new form, accepting the virtual part of life. And I think so. It will keep on going on. All of us already buying online, lots of clothes and medicines, etc. I think so. Jewelry will follow, or
Yeah.
will follow in a pattern. So that's what I think virtual. And GJS, thank you for supporting the trade. And more and more noise we make on virtual, more and more our friends, colleagues, and peers will join in hands. And as they say, that slower, everybody will be on the same platform. I think so. That's where the business will start working
Yeah.
on. These are my views for GJS, virtual, and the festive edit jewelry.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Thank you for all your time and joining us today and actually taking us through the different kinds of jewelry from Rajasthan.
Prerna, thank you for giving me this opportunity, showcasing what I do, what we do, sitting in Jaipur. It's totally been in my honor.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.